Not only do I not think that you can follow Islam and be in Britain, I think you have to renounce it to be here. Because the people who come to me and say, what about us? We fled this horror show. Yeah. I lived in these countries. I want to come to Britain and I want to be British. I want to assimilate. To those people, I would really welcome. But to the gang raping, paedophilic Islamic rape gangs, I'm like, oh, sorry, go live somewhere where that's acceptable. I mean, you can do a Kemi Bay knock and you go, well, it's a very small part of Pakistan where very small things happen. But it's not. It's enshrined in the religion. Welcome to another episode of Fox and Father, with me, the Fox, and him,
the Father.
It's a show where Calvin tries to educate me in the ways of righteousness and succeeds in the main, I've thought, over the last couple of years, or year. I think we did our year anniversary recently, didn't we?
Yeah, I think you're more righteous than I am these days. So.
Oh yeah, you're the worst. I'm sorry, I forgot. And first of all, loving the new hairstyle. You look like. Can we call you Dances with Calvin? You look a little bit like. You look a bit like you are an inhabitant of the indigenous lands from where you are inhabiting now. You look
I thought it was more kid and play.
Okay, what does that mean?
Like the flat top. Obviously, it's not that flat, but it's the old. I just like it. I like it short on the sides and the back, and I thought I'd let it grow out a little bit on the top, but not too much. But thank you.
How are you, brother?
I'm all right. The sun is shining. I got given a free coffee at the garage today. I'm like, the simple things in life make me happy.
Don't they just? My dad's up. He's come up to visit, and he's like, I'd really like to watch the rugby. I'm like, what channel is it on? And he's like, I think it's on like ITV or BBC. I'm like, well, good luck finding that then.
Because did you manage to find it?
I did find it. So, dear UK authorities, you can come and arrest me and put me in jail for watching your propaganda TV once in a year. But I feel I pay enough tax to say, fuck you to all of them.
More and more people are stopping paying the television tax. You don't need to pay the BBC license fee to watch ITV and Channel 4, for goodness sake.
I know. I mean, who are we paying? It's not like it goes to rugby players, right? It's unbelievable and ridiculous. But we've had a bit of a week. I mean, we've had a bit of a last couple of days. I got a text message from you, very inconsiderate text message from you, I thought, Calvin.
What did I say?
Well, it wasn't what you said. It was at what time you sent it.
It's not what you said. It's how you said it.
That's what your bishop would say. All you have to do, Calvin, is just never say anything that you think ever again. And then you can be in the. I did say to Dad was like, how is Calvin? Is he back? Is he sorted? And I'm like, yeah, he's back in America. He's like, what's he going to do? And I said, well, hopefully he just joins one of the African churches that are still Christian. And he went, that's a good idea. Maybe he should. They are still Christians over there.
They are.
It was at 23:59.
Okay. It's not too late.
Come on, Cal.
I've come to the point now. I mean, it's tiresome doing the constant conversions. I've come to the point now that people can just check their phones whenever they want to check them, right? So check it when you're woken up, and then don't check it during the night.
I know, but I'm really bad because I go to Lizzie, put your phone on Do Not Disturb because you do, because she's just not one of those people. She just like throws the phone. She's one of those people who like 4% charge most of the time.
I don't even know if Lizzie's got a phone.
Yeah, she doesn't care about her phone very much. But she, so I said, can you put it on Do Not Disturb? And that at 23:59 last night, it went ping. And I was like,
sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
But it was actually you. So, I mean, I'll forgive you. I'm full of grace. I will forgive you.
Thank you.
So,
I passed my driving test this week, Laurence.
Hallelujah!
Yeah, I'm free. It's so good.
Did you?
It is like getting your freedom. It's amazing. I passed last week, but I got my license this week on Monday.
So can you use that license in the UK?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, American driving license, that probably goes all over the world, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. It's just.
Oh, mate, I'm so looking forward to you driving up to see me then.
Yeah, well, I did my first long distance driving on Thursday. I went out from where I am, It was fun. It's good fun. Loved it.
I can. Do you wear the full priestly garb and the hat?
Yep.
Oh man, are you still in the girls' car, or have you bought a Cobra Viper yet with all that money?
It's not a girl's car, but I need to get a house before I get a good car.
We're going to get a house. So please, by the way, go and help Calvin.
My car that I'm
live.
driving belongs to the parish. So if I manage to stay with the parish, I'll manage to hold on to this car. But it rears to the right. I'm on the motorway and it's like, okay, I need to get that checked. But other than that, it's a really decent car.
See, if it was the great car, I would call that torque steer, which is, when I was an actor, I used to spend my spare money on fast cars.
Right.
And you'd get something called torque steer, which is if you floored it, something about the engine would make it kind of veer off in one direction. But I'm imagining that you're packing in America, like a small engine.
It's a 2008 Subaru Outback. But it's good for the snow. It is.
You know. It's not like an SUV, or is it? Mate, listen, don't come to me for I'm thrilled for you. I'm just looking forward to you driving me to and from the pub.
You're the one with the American car, which is funny because you can't even drive I mean, I've seen people try to park your car in Britain. It's too big for British records.
I love that car so much. The other day, the Strood, which is near us, is it's tidal, so it gets flooded every day when the tide comes in. The whole road disappears, and people stop and put their hands on their heads, and they don't know what's going on, and you just panic. And I just I pull out. I can tell when it's happening. I just pull out and just drive straight through. And then I was stopping in town, and I bumped into a bloke, and I said, "Salt water is not very good for a car, is it?" And he went, "If I were you," Polish guy. He said, "If I were you, I would let it expand its warranty and then swap for a new one, because this is not so good for the salt on the underside of the car."
Right.
So yeah, there we are. But anyway, look, we can talk about cars forever, and I'm very thrilled about
Fox and Father does Top Gear.
Fox and Father does Top Gear. You can find my Top Gear episode where I win everything. I think it's series 23, episode something or other. Anyway, it was very, very good, and I won everything. Just before I was cancelled, actually. Right, Calvin Robinson, Father Calvin Robinson. So yesterday, as I'm returning from London, having gone to try and continue my relationship with my children, which becomes ever more difficult when one is dealing with someone who doesn't want you to have a relationship with your children.
Yeah.
I was driving back from London, and my phone started going ping, 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 ping. And bear in mind that I think you're probably my only friend. That doesn't happen very often. So I was like, all right, what's going on here though? So I picked up my phone, and along comes the Reform meltdown. Would you like to talk the audience through it?
This was interesting, wasn't it? So, I mean, there are so many different angles. I don't even know what's true and what's happened, but it seems that Rupert Lowe has had the whip removed from the Reform Party. He's saying that he's been trying to meet with the leadership for weeks. Nigel Farage has refused to have dinner with him and or ignored him. And I find that strange when there are only 5 MPs in the party. For the leader of the party to not find time to chat to one of the MPs is odd. But then, of course, Rupert Lowe provided some friendly criticism, and that was taken out of context, and he had the whip removed. And then Zia Yusuf, the Mohammedan chairman, I think his first name is actually Mohammed, of Reform, reported Rupert Lowe to the police for, was it abusive language or something? Like, come on, how wet can you get, honestly? And then
how woke can you get? That's what I reckon. Anyway, carry on.
All these accusations start coming out about, he's bullying women and disabled people, and he's just not a nice person. It's like, come on. Everyone knows Rupert Lowe is one of the nicest men in politics. He's not a career politician. He's in this because he cares. So this character assassination is very transparent. The timing of it is very convenient. No one's buying it. Loads of the Reform base are saying, well, we actually preferred Rupert Lowe to Nigel Farage. Now you've got rid of Rupert Lowe. The party's imploding. And that's probably the point of it all, in that Rupert Lowe was outshining Nigel Farage. And we've said since the very beginning, this is the Nigel Farage show, get on board or you'll be kicked out. And this is what's happened to Gwaine Towler. This is what happened to Ben Habib. And this is what's now happened to Rupert Lowe. And someone said Howard Cox had a similar situation as well. I can't remember his situation. But it's not a good place to be if you're good at what you do.
Howard Cox, I mean, I can put it this way. I know all these people. I've spent time with all of them, a lot of time with all of them, including Farage. And Rupert Lowe is the only person in Parliament who is literally sat in Parliament not getting paid because he wants to serve the public, because he believes. And what the timing is an issue for me, which is that the day before these allegations emerged, he very gently said that the Nigel Farage had, some sort of messianic qualities.
Right.
He believed himself to be slightly messianic. And the very next day, Mohammed Zia Youssef, as you quite rightly point out, and Lee does what he's told Anderson, decided to remove the whip. I did find it laughable that there is a reform whip, because none of them say the same thing ever.
Like, this is part of the problem, in that Rupert Lowe said, if you're going to make policy announcements, could we please see them as members and as parliamentarians before you announce them? I think that's a fair request, to be honest with you.
Well, and I agree with you. I had a meeting last week which we'll get onto later, about the sort of my future, my immediate future. And during that meeting, I was speaking to my friend Jeffrey, and Jeffrey said to me, he said, I have a feeling that reform might go pop, And sure enough, reform had gone pop.
It's toxic, man. Nigel Farage did this to the UKIP party. He did this to the Brexit party. He's done it to reform before, when he left, and then he suddenly came back and said, I'm taking over the party. It's a constant pattern, and people look past it because they think we need someone to get behind, and we need someone. He's not a Trumpian figure. He's a Faragean figure who cares about Farage first and foremost. We've been saying this all along, that the party will implode when people overstep their bounds in his eyes, and that's exactly what's happened. The people are left without anyone now.
He said last week, which I found so egregious, when they announced, surprise, surprise, the police announced that they had not given us the full information on that other Mohammedan lunatic, Axel Ruda Cabana, who murdered children. Nigel Farage, instead of doing what Trump would have done, which is said the American people were lied to, the American people deserve an apology, he said, the police lied, I deserve an apology. I have to say, and because you're in my elder brother Tom Fox, do follow him, by the way, Constitution and Reform Party, he's called, severely mentally unwell individual. Do follow him. He's my Fox and Father Follows for the week. And when my brother Tom writes on his public, I'm only saying this because he does it publicly, so I'll do it publicly in return.
He's your brother. You can say what you like. I'm not going to say a word about him.
Yeah. He has an email chain in a public forum where he tells everyone that I'm Hitler, and I think you're Hitler too. Are you Hitler?
I think I'm just a demon that follows. You're Satan, and I'm one of your demons, apparently. And then Emma and Lucille are harlots or something. He's got nice words to say about you and all of your friends.
Yeah, he's a charming fellow. Anyway, Mad Brother Tom has been saying this stuff for ages about Farage, saying that he's a loony bag. And I'm like, we should be friends, because I agree. I really, 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 really wish Nigel Farage two things. Firstly, he has, every single time there has been an attack on the establishment hegemony, Nigel Farage has been at the center of it. And every single time the attack has failed and it has been scuppered. Every single time.
Almost like controlled opposition.
Almost like they go, here's your seat at the grown-ups table, Nigel, you avaricious little twonk. Let's give you an opportunity. And then post-Brexit, we've had record uncontrolled immigration. He stood down his Brexit MPs in 2019, of which you were one, were you not?
I was indeed. Yes, he stood me down.
So he stood everybody down. And I'm
bear in mind that all these candidates, like including myself, were doing this at our own expense, just as Rupert Lowe has done, campaigns at our own expense. I was renting a flat up there in Broxtowe to stand against Anna Soubry, putting all this time and effort and money into the campaign. And then he suddenly goes, you're not our candidate anymore. We're standing you all down. It's like, without a conversation. In fact, we found out by the press before we got a call from Reform.
It's almost like getting fired by GB News. You find out by the press.
He left in the world, man.
No, man, there is so isn't. And you're right that we have been saying this from the get-go. We've been saying reform are bad news. It's a dictatorship and a political Ponzi scheme.
But fraud. And so all the members are saying, look, how can we cancel our membership? I'm sitting there looking, thinking, you're not a member. There's nothing to cancel. You're a financial supporter of the Reform Inc., of Reform Limited, which is Nigel Farage and Mohammed Zia Yusuf. That's it. You're funding them, really, and you can cancel your direct debit at any time. The membership number won't go down. They won't. There's no system there. It's a fake thing.
Yeah, it's totally fake. And not only what you're now doing is you're now paying for Nigel Farage and Mohammed Zia Yusuf, Islamist chairman of a political party, to hire a KC to investigate Rupert Lowe. Now, I will say that I spoke to Rupert Lowe this morning, and
how's he doing?
He's good. He's just, he's 65 years old, 67 years old, I think, actually. The man is a very, together person. He's built businesses. He's won. He's lost. He's not stupid. He's a man of decent means. He's trying to serve the public, and the way he's been thanked for it. He said some things to me which I'm not going to say publicly because that's not quite right. Our conversations in private. But what he said in public is very revealing, which is that they have absolutely no interest in their own MPs' views on things, let alone these poor British people who believe that this insurgent party is going to offer them anything. I call Farage the king of cancel culture. To me, he is more cancel culture ridden than any of the main political parties, much worse than any of them. He hates free speech more than the main political parties. He's a Mohammedan appeaser more than both. Labour really do that. Labour are pretty good at Mohammedan appeasing. Mm-hmm. But he is and I just think, if only Nigel, and I said this to him when I first met him, I said, your time is done. You're finished. Because of a few things that he said to me, and within 10 minutes of first meeting him, I thought, whoa, those are the views of the past. So he said some things over race, which I found very, very uncomfortable. And that's me. I'm happy to talk about race. And I found what he said uncomfortable. And I said to him, your time in frontline politics is finished. You need to now nurture the next generation. You fought very hard and you've done very well. And thanks for Brexit, blah, blah. And he went, I've got one more shot at this. And this is what we're witnessing. We're witnessing Nigel Farage's final shot across the bows of an establishment which hates him, always going to hate him, and to which he's a useful idiot. And to watch him try in their pathetically, someone's more popular than you, Nigel, so let's destroy them way, to take them down. It to me makes me think, I'm not sure about legacy, and I don't know whether one wants to be judged by one's legacy. One wants to be judged only by God, and also one wants to, feel the repercussions of what one has tried to achieve in life, in your life. But I think people are going to look back on Nigel Farage and go, nah, I really do. He decided to take over Reform 3 hours after the first United Kingdom rally.
Yeah.
3 hours, because he saw how many people, Tommy and you and I and everyone else, have managed to gather in the name of unity, and he decided to do that. And what he has done since then is go, I want to be sat in number 10. And the guy is, to me, he's the exact worst person you want serving the people of Great Britain, because Rupert Lowe is someone you do want serving Great Britain, because Rupert Lowe actually wants to serve, hence why he gives his salary away, and he just does it because he's like, I care. And,
I'll be honest with you, if Farage got into number 10, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It wouldn't make a difference, actually. It'd be just the same as another David Cameron, another Theresa May, another Boris Johnson. It'd be exactly the same as all the Conservatives we've had so far. Middle of the road, moist policies, getting nothing done, but lots of verbiage. It wouldn't make a difference to the country. And people are pinning all their hopes on this guy. And I feel sorry for them, because people keep saying, have faith. Don't have faith in politicians. Don't have faith in political parties. Have faith in Jesus Christ as your one Lord and Savior. Pray, yes. But in terms of politics, there is no Trumpian figure in the UK that's going to come out and change things. No one cares enough to change things, to say what needs to be said, to do what needs to be done. Because it's hard. it's difficult. And people want the easy life. They want convenience. They want to be in the establishment. They want to get paid. And so nothing's going to change in that regard, not anytime soon.
Well, I slightly disagree, because I think there are several Trumpian figures in
Who's
politics.
Trumpian in the UK?
Well, the people that speak their mind and don't care what the repercussions. You're one of them. You're not.
I'm not even there anymore. I can't bear it.
No, I'm just saying that you were one of them. Thank you. And I think to a degree I'm one of them as well, because I don't care. But I also don't want to be I don't want to be in charge of anything. Well, I'm meant to be in politics, but we'll get onto that. I have during my meeting with my friend Jeffrey during the week, we realized that one of the most valuable assets we have, which you would probably not be able to get anymore, is a political party past the Electoral Commission, bearing in mind that the sentencing council are now saying that we're going to sentence white people to jail and brown people to not jail. And bearing in mind that we've got non-crime crimes coming out of the College of Policing. With this country, I don't think, in fact, I know people don't realize how bad it is. And this brings me on, and I think we'll probably come back to Farage because it's important. But this brings me on to why you're in America and why I am going to just step back for a period of months. Because I'm bored of waking up on a Monday morning and trying to explain to people that something is a problem. And some of them getting it, and an increasing number do get it, but a really large proportion of them not getting it. And what I want to do, and it's an experiment, is I want to become as uninformed as your average British person. I want to not listen to, I never listen to news anyway, but I want to not listen to political podcasts. I want to not follow political Twitter. I want to not be on social media at all. And I want to know what it's like not to know anything, and to see which parts of the establishment narrative manage to penetrate my complete bubble of ignorance that I'm going to create for myself.
You deserve a break, and it's nice to just live a normal life for a while. You're getting married soon. You've got your nice countryside house in England, in real England. So why not enjoy that and live life? It's like you can't fight constantly. It's unsustainable.
It's unsustainable, but it also, I sense with the British, there's a sort of there's a self-loathing in our nation, which runs very, very deep. And it takes an absolute crisis for people to really wake up. And I just think no one's going to notice if I vanish for a while.
I don't care, but I get your point. The problem is the problem we're facing is so big. It's going to take a generation at least, and things are going to get a lot worse before they get better, because not enough people are awake to how bad the country is right now, because people are living their normal lives as best they can and taking on board all the horrible policies that come their way when it comes to them. But they're not ready to fight back, to push back just yet. I honestly don't think our generation is going to be able to solve it. It's going to be the next generation. And so the question is, do you want to fight to the death, to the day that you die, and not even see your country change?
I think that's really good. And also I've interested to note that, as you quite rightly point out, going to get married, going to do all that stuff. Personally, life kind of goes along very happily. It's good. So when your personal life is good and you notice that the other part of your life is still quite low to mid-level anxiety, you go, why is that? What am I anxious about? And you go, well, I'm anxious about the fact there's a problem that people will not confront and will not see. And I am tired of trying to bang it into people's heads. So, for me, 2029 is going to be about Islam. It's that simple. It's going to be about Islam. We are going to have to make a decision as a nation whether we think we can coexist with a system of living which is entirely antithetical even to secular liberal values, let alone spiritual ones. It's so antithetical to those values that I just don't think it's at all possible. And B, whether anyone is actually going to stand up and do anything about it who isn't a racist. So, you've got Steve Laws, like the minute I say anything, Steve Laws, Home Loan Party, they sit there and they're like, now you're joining my side, innit? Yeah, you want to get rid of all the fucking packies or whatever. Sorry, you have to bleep that out. But it's, that's not what I am. I believe in multi-ethnic societies. I really do. I don't believe in multicultural societies at all. I really don't. I don't. Sure. I don't think that you can live in Britain.
Well, I'm a step further. I think you can have an argument for a national ethnic society. Israel do it very well. They say we are a Jewish nation, and that's what I'm saying.
But it's a race, Jewishness.
No, it's not. No, it's not. That's a misdemeanor. No, it's not. It's the Jewish religion. They say this is a Jewish nation, and for all Jews around the world to come back here. We've prayed for this, and we have it now. So come back. This is a explicitly, predominantly Jewish nation, and they're very proud of that. There's no reason we couldn't say that England is a Christian nation, and that's the thing. But there has to be a thing. And so for people like Steve Laws, it's the whiteness. And I've had arguments with him on Twitter. He puts whiteness above Christianity, which I think is the wrong way around, unfortunately. But he's where he is. But I understand his argument. I just don't think his approach is going to work. If it doesn't work on people like you and I, it's not going to work on the masses, is it? It turns people off. He's quite abrasive and it's just not very good with it. So but we need a united front on the right that says, look, what is the UK? I would say predominantly, first and foremost, England is for the English. And part of that English ethnicity is the English culture, the English language, the English ethnicity, the race, absolutely, as in whiteness, but also Christianity, the Christian faith. All of these things come together. It's not one of them. You can't say, it's a white people thing. That's just racism, right? But whiteness is certainly part of Englishness, absolutely. Doesn't mean you can't have a minority of people that aren't ethnically English, but as long as they integrate and take on board what we all call our culture. And I think most good, healthy societies around the world do have a minority, but it is a minority. And in many places in the UK, it's not a minority anymore, such as London, which we talk about all the time. The English people are in such a minority. I think it's 21% now, white English people, 21%.
It's London has fallen, but just can I push back a little bit on the Jew thing? Because in Judaism, if your mum your religion passes through your mother, doesn't it? So that is kind of a bit more race than religion to me.
Sure, but you can also convert. And there are Jews from all different parts of the world and all kinds of stuff. So it's not predominantly a race.
As there are Muslims.
Yeah, but no one say Muslim is race either. I think the Judaism is a race thing has not helped us. We just got to remember that it's a religion. And that's fine. It's a different religion. There is some similarities, but they are very proud of their heritage and they've made a land that is for them. And I think good for them. I would love to see the same in Britain. And I know many Americans that want to see the same in America. They say this is a Christian nation and we should.
I think unless you were a Christian, I don't think people who are not Christian should be allowed to serve in public office. I don't. I don't think that I can't remember the name of is it Naz Shah swearing to Almighty Allah that she's going to I'm just like, get out of Parliament, get out, I don't want you in Parliament, get out. And if that makes me a racist, then I'm really happy to be one.
Because people it will, but of course it's not.
It's so flexible, this term racist, that I know what a racist is. A racist is someone that just hates someone because of an immutable characteristic they can't change. Whereas being an Islamist, you can change in the same way as being a Jew or a Christian, whatever. As you say, you can convert to Judaism.
And if Naz Shah wants to run in England, she should convert to Christianity, as Disraeli had to do. And people recognize, well, this is another thing, just not to keep going on about the Jews, but this is another thing my Jewish friends recognize and say to me quite often, and that the reason they support Christian nationalism in places like the UK and America is because that they realize that the only places in the world that they have freedom is in Christian nations, because Christianity protects the rights of freedom of worship and freedom of religion. It doesn't say you must take on our faith, as Islam does all around the world. And this is why people flee Islamic countries and then go and create an Islamic country where they're fleeing to.
Do you think they do, though? So that's another question I wanted to ask, because a lot of people say to me in my replies, Strangely, one of the Muslim people I was speaking to seriously is a guy called Suhail Ahmed, who's now blocked me because he's very upset that I'm pointing out these things which he agreed with at lunch.
Right.
So essentially, he's done a Majid Nawaz. He's gone out and said, wow, this isn't right, man. Come on, the Muslims are a bit full on and we got to calm down a bit because, why do we want to see dead, severed legs on the streets of Mannheim? And the minute they say it, someone comes at them, possibly with a threat of their life, I would imagine. And then they flip back and the beard comes back and they start hating on Christians. I don't think, not only do I not think that you can follow Islam and be in Britain, I think you have to renounce it to be here. Because the people who come to me and say, what about us? We fled this horror show. Yeah. I lived in these countries. I want to come to Britain and I want to be British. I want to assimilate. To those people, I would really welcome. But to the gang raping, paedophilic Islamic rape gangs, I'm like, oh, sorry, go live somewhere where that's acceptable. I mean, you can do a Kemi Bay knock and you can go, well, there's a very small part of Pakistan where very small things happen, but it's not. It's enshrined in the religion. You don't make Iran. It's not even a religion. It's an insult to religions to call Islam a religion.
I spoke to Bassam Eid about this. So he identifies as Palestinian. So he's a Mohammedan Arabic Mohammedan who lives in the Middle East. And I said, why is it that so many Mohammedans are leaving Gaza and places around there to go and live in Western nations when there are so many Mohammedan nations they can live in, including Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Syria, Iraq, Iran, you name it, Lebanon now.
The whole of North Africa.
Yeah,
a lot of Eastern Europe. Yeah.
So I asked him straight up, he's a famous commentator. I'm like, so why is it that Mohammedans are leaving Muhammad and not going to Mohammedan places, but coming to the West? And he quite frankly said, well, we get better stuff in the West, more benefits. We can make more money. It was a very capitalist answer. And I'm like, don't you want to live somewhere where your faith is the law base of those lands? And he said, no, because we feel oppressed in those places. I'm like, this is the point. Your faith is oppressive. Your ideology is not helpful to anyone. And when it's put into practice, you don't like it. And so that's why they come and take over our lands, because our lands are freer, because we have a different ideology. Our lands are built in the faith of Christianity, which is a faith of freedom.
It is, and it's unique in that way. I mean, there's no other religion like it in that way. There's no other faith, and that's for me what makes it the true faith, because it's not trying to supersede via force, whereas Islam most certainly is, and we're seeing on London tube stations and London signposts that you've got to give zakat, and that's 2.5% of your income, right? And if you think about the fact that Sadiq Khan is oversees like his sort of Islamic Caliphate city-state of London, 2.5% of London's income from the Muslim community, 1 million of them. I had a taxi driver yesterday when I was going to get Eugene from somewhere. He was like, we got talking and he said, I don't go into West End because there's just no action in the West End at the moment. And I went, why? And he went, Ramadan.
Yeah. All those posters that are up everywhere about Ramadan. We've got the Ramadan lights being lit by the so-called Mayor of London. We've got the King allowing people to celebrate iftar, the breaking of fast, so-called fast, for Ramadan in the Windsor Castle. We've got the Prime Minister allowing them to celebrate it in the Palace of Westminster. And the Church of England says nothing on any of this. The King himself hasn't celebrated Ash Wednesday or promoted Lent. It's like Islam everywhere.
The King is a Muzzy, I reckon.
Well, I shared this quote on purpose, right, to see what people would make of it. I wasn't saying that the King is a Mohammedan. I don't believe he is converted, but it's a possibility. And the fact that, so the quote, just to read it out for people that didn't see it, was by the Grand Mufti of Greece in 1996. And he said, did you know that Prince Charles has converted to Islam? Yes, he is a Muslim. I can't say more, but it happened in Turkey. Oh yes, he converted all right. When you get home, check on how often he travels to Turkey. You'll find that your future king is a Muslim. The Grand Mufti of Cyprus, in 1996. But the fact that I just put the quote out there, so I'll see what people make of it. The fact that so many people are like, actually, that's very probable. That could have happened. Like, and I don't think it's. I think it's. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? No. But it's definitely worth looking into, because the amount of content from the king that comes out in support of Islam, his big Oxford speeches, they're out there. Anyone can YouTube them. He's like, Islam built the West and this and that. Like, no. Christianity built the West, otherwise known as Christendom, and we had to fight back against the barbarians who were encroaching on the West by death and torture, forcing their religion on us. What do you think the Crusades was?
It takes more than a few minarets on a Christian church to make you build the West. Certainly, when it comes to Constantinople, I just am staggered by the anti-Christian hatred across the world, the complete ignoring of the massacre of 70 Congolese Christians in their own church, marched to their own church before they were beheaded and massacred, and the fact that I think it ties very nicely into the idea of the left, actually, which is you look at Trump's not State of the Union but address to Congress in the week, and he's kind of applauding a kid with brain cancer and saying, that's good. Laken Riley, he's talking about, someone who's murdered, savagely, brutally murdered by an illegal immigrant, and they won't even stand up, let alone applaud. So to me, this constant kneeling for George Floyd, who, God rest his soul, was another human being just like us, and his life was just as sacred as ours was. But his decisions took him to a place where he ended up. And he certainly was not killed by Derek Chauvin. He was not killed by Derek Chauvin. That's very clearly, obviously revealed by the autopsy report and everything else. He died from a fentanyl overdose. And anyone who's actually looked at the bloody police footage can see him lobbing the chunks of fentanyl into his mouth before he died. The fact that they will kneel for an armed robbing, murder. He's not an armed robbing murderer, but he's an abusive man. Yeah, for an abusive, violent man, that they will get on their knees with their little stupid face nappies on in honor of this guy, but they can't stand up for a 10-year-old, 12-year-old kid with brain cancer because he wants to actually make something of himself, who happens, by the way, to be black.
Yeah, they don't care. They get it. They don't care. They didn't like George Floyd because of who he was or anything. They used him as an icon for their ideology and to take power and to make other people kneel, to make other people subjective to them and their ideology. It wasn't even about him. And it's the same with the race thing. They don't care about that kid. Oh my gosh, Agent DJ or Officer DJ. What a kid, right? He's going through such a life. And it was wonderful to see the president honor him in that way and to see everyone stand up. And then you see the Democrats can't find the compassion in them. They're full of false empathy. But when it comes to real empathy, it's empty because it doesn't fit their ideology. They can't use it.
I want to push back on that too. I don't think there's such a thing as false empathy. I think there's such a thing as psychopathy or sociopathy. Yeah. I don't think there's such a thing as false empathy. I mean, there's performative empathy. Yeah, fine. But it's fake and it's never been real. There's nothing real about the way that they honor this strange martyr that they created, a guy with a fake $20 bill who happens to scream at people, I can't breathe, because he can't breathe because he's boshed too many drugs while trying to fraudulently buy something in a liquor store. And I've always bothered me, this idea of going, well, hang on a minute, why are you making him a martyr when you've got David Dawn, who was actually trying to protect one of his businesses from these BLM riots, and this constant cognitive dissonance of being told that, it's like Black Lives Matter. And it's like, but his Black Lives doesn't matter. Yeah. The Congolese Black Lives don't matter. So do they matter or do they not matter? Because I want to know, logically, rationally, and reasonably, do they matter? And it seems to me, to the Democrats in America, it doesn't matter at all.
Well, Black Lives don't matter, but Black Lives can be used to their advantage to gain power. That's what it is.
So what I want to do, and I know I'm going to take a break from this, but
no social media for 3 months.
Yeah, none. Okay. I'm going to turn it all off on Monday morning. I'm gonna turn it off. I probably will take my break with a parting shot, just to prepare people for exactly what's going to happen when I turn it back on again. I know exactly what the conversation is going to be when I turn it back on again, and that's part of the reason why I'm taking a little break, is because I think there's no point. It's going to be the same chat when I turn back up, and in the meantime, I built inside the house. I built a dog bed, window seat, chair in the house. I've got loads of little projects that I do, and I love doing that sort of stuff. So I've obviously got a lot of writing to do, which I really, really, really enjoy. But I think that the best part of this for me is going to be not engaging with exactly the same conversation over and over and over again with people that a lot of the time one is encouraged. You'll say something like, whatever you say, blah, 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 someone agrees with you. And you're like, oh, great, people get it. But really, no one gets it. I mean, I speak to high-level politicians often, and I keep trying to explain to them what the problem is. And they keep going, oh, no, that's not the problem, mate. That's not the problem. There's much different. So that's the problem. Well, I'm just like, that's the problem. You can't run away from it. It's not. We are witnessing the death and destruction of our own nation in real time. So, the Center for Migration Control's stuff about the fact that by 2035, we're going to have between, over half the population are going to be first or second generation immigrants. That's the death of a nation. And, and they're still talking about like, Wes Streeting will go to Iftar and then he'll go to get his Ash Wednesday thing. And they all just think, oh, it's fine. We'll just get along nicely. And yet week after week, Christians and non-believers and non-followers to the death cult of Islam will be murdered and massacred on European streets. We're just meant to get used to it. And I'm sick to death of it.
But it starts in England. It starts in the UK. There's the announcement that I retweet. Another thing I retweeted this week, that the United Arab Emirates has prescribed 19 terrorist organizations, Islamist organizations, banned them from the country. 8 of them are headquartered in the UK. So we are inviting the Islamist extremists, the terrorists, we're inviting them in. They're setting up base in our country. We are the home of Islamic terrorism around the world. We are a scourge on the rest of the world. Like, it's our duty and our obligation to clean house.
I agree with you 100%. I had a Muslim girlfriend for a while, and she was shocked about the way Britain deals with its extremist Muslims, extremist Islamists. She said to me, underneath every single one of those bin bags that they wear, she says, is a chav. So the minute they take it off, they're just like chavvy, sort of westernized girls, but they just lob it on as they go out. But they're the lowest caste and the lowest class of Islamist followers, Islamic followers. Because I would have thought under the bin bag would be a very sort of, a woman with kind of a thing up to her wrists, and she went, no, none of them. They're all like lippy, glass, they've had their lips done, they're all completely chabby. And I thought, that's so interesting to think that they're the most assiduous followers of a woman-hating, misogynist, paedophilic ideology, which is running rampant in our country, totally unchecked, to the point where obviously Sentencing Council have said that, if you're white, you're going to get punished more. We've seen that with the Southport riots. But we are venerating the people that are going to destroy us. And I'm just sick to death of it. So I would rather, for my own mental health in a lot of ways, and also I find that this phone thing is bad.
Yeah.
I've started training myself for the last few weeks to prepare for my, unplugging by just leaving my phone somewhere else. And it's been so good. I can't tell you. And a lot of people reach out to me, and I'm sure you as a pastor and as a father, they reach out to you a lot to talk to you about their problems. A lot of people reach out to me, and I just end up going, turn it off.
Absolutely. It's addictive. I myself am addicted to my phone. It's not a good thing. I've ashed mine for Lent, so I've put it in grayscale. I know it sounds daft, but a lot of these apps are designed to increase serotonin and kind of keep you addicted, to keep you hooked. And a lot of it is the color and the design of it. So I've made my phone grayscale for Lent. I can't show you because I'm using it as a camera right now, but it's less attractive. And so I'm less likely to pick it up and
So yours is now not in color?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's something at the end of the day. It sends your phone, get behind me evil phone.
Yeah, it's a tool. My phone is my tool. I'm not the tool of the phone, and it's flipping that around.
See, I'm a slave to all of it because I'm a highly emotional person. I am strangely, and as I said before, when I was sort of talking with Lizzie, I was like, I'm actually really happy in so many ways. So why am I still suffering this low-level anxiety? And the only thing that I can attribute it to is the fact that I'm a news junkie and I'm a politics junkie and I'm addicted to.
I've seen you on the beach like this.
Yeah,
it's like I think it's great if you can have the discipline to keep it away for 3 months. That'd be amazing.
Well, I will. I know I will have the discipline to keep it away for 3 months. So that I'm not even. Eugene was giving me shit about it at lunch today while staring at his phone. And I'm like, no phone over lunch. And he was like, you can't, you're always on your phone. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, I am. But I'm going to switch it off. Cool. Now, what do you think? Okay, so, and this is an open question because we've sort of not even really touched on this. What do we think we do with Fox and Father for this 3 month period? Because I'm like, well, we can talk about other things, whatever it is, spiritual things, interesting stories that have happened in the past or the present that are non-political, like interesting things. But is there a way that we can continue doing it without me having to know what's going on in the world? Because I literally won't.
I think that'd be nice. For me, the least interesting bit is when we spend time on UK news because it's so negative. It's constantly negative. And I'm like out here in America. I mean, I tap into it because I want to engage in it and help it in some way. But at the same time, it's nice to be apart from it for a while. So I think it will be nice to we can just continue talking about our own journeys. I mean, we spent half of the last 2 episodes. Well, last episode was talking about me. This episode is talking about you and what you're going to be doing. So we can get to our lives and what we're doing. We don't have to go into the news every week. Well, let's try it next week and see what happens anyway. It might
exactly.
Work.
I think that is the right way. I also think one can chronicle the idea of what it is to be disengaged in the modern world, to all of those things. And I've stupidly but only recently discovered millions of Bible Twitter pages. So I follow a lot of Bible Twitter Instagram pages. I'm not on Instagram very much, but I'll flick through it, when I'm bored of Twitter, like anyone will. And I love the little clay hand that goes across the verse and tells you, and you read it and you do absorb it. And I think it's a really good way of showing the Bible. Wow. But I now follow a lot of Bible Twitter accounts, and I really, really enjoy being nourished by a verse. I want to have this conversation. Seeing is, we're going to now be talking about, I do want to have this conversation. Seeing as we're now going to be talking about other things, right? Let me just see if I've got it in front of me.
While you're searching for that, I'm going to give my Fox and Father follows this week. Mine goes to Aaron Edwards, who is at Aaron with 2 A's _P_ Edwards.
Let me follow him. Hang on a minute. I'll look for that in a minute.
Yeah.
Hang on. What is it? Aaron
AARON _P_ EDWARDS. Aaron _P_ Edwards. Okay. He's got a relatively new podcast and Substack called That Good Fight. Now, Aaron is one of the few men in England that are willing to stand up. He sticks his head above the parapet. I heard about him when he was...
I can't find him. What's it?
Aaron, so 2 A's, RON, _P_ Edwards.
Edwards. Okay, hang on a minute.
So he came across my radar when he first got cancelled, really. He was...
he follows me. Follow back.
He was a professor in a like a Bible school, kind of like almost like a seminary. And he got cancelled for being Christian. And I was like, this is outrageous. And at the time, I was trying to support him. And he's since come back around and supported me. And every time I've been cancelled, he's always been there. We have completely different theology, but we always find time to be brothers in Christ together. Whenever we meet up, we have a pint, and it's great. It's true good ecumenism. Anyway, I've just been on his podcast. I don't think it's out yet, but we had a really good chat. And he finds a way to hold me to account and challenge me in a way that is in love, rather than those horrible people that are just trolling. And I really respect him. I think he's a good Christian to follow, especially if you're Protestant and not as high church or Catholic as I am. But he's one of us. He's a brother in Christ. Aaron Edwards.
Good. Aaron Edwards, follow him. Mine is, you'll all be aware of, is Laura Dodsworth, which is at Bare Reality, at BARE, capital REALITY. She wrote a brilliant piece, which I can suggest you go to on social media, about the devouring mother, which is brilliant. Now, seeing as we're going to move towards stuff that is unrelated, perhaps, to the ins and outs of the current news cycle, I want to read a piece from C.S. Lewis, which is what was Surprised by Joy? Is that the book he wrote? I read most of C.S. Lewis, but I haven't read Surprised by Joy. Okay. And this resonates with me because I've lost my mum in the last few years, and you don't realize how much, really, until the grief has left you, you don't realize what you've lost. So someone sent this to me. My good friend Larry sent this to me. Children suffer not, I think, less than their elders, but differently. For us boys, the real bereavement had happened before our mother died. We lost her gradually as she was gradually withdrawn from our life into the hands of nurses in delirium and morphia, and as our whole existence changed into something alien and menacing, as the house became full of strange smells and the midnight noises and sinister whispered conversations. This had two further results, one very evil and one very good. It divided us from our father as well as our mother. They say that a shared sorrow draws people closer together. I can hardly believe that it often has the effect when those who are of wildly differing I can hardly believe that it often has that effect when those who are of wildly different ages. If I may trust my own experience, the sight of an adult of misery and an adult of terror has an effect on children which is merely paralyzing and alienating. Perhaps it was our fault. Perhaps if we had been better children, we might have lightened our father's sufferings at this time. We certainly did not. His nerves had never been of the steadiest, and his emotions had always been uncontrolled. Under the pressure of anxiety, his temper became incalculable. He spoke wildly and acted unjustly. Thus, by peculiar cruelty of fate, during those months, the unfortunate man, had he but known it, was really losing his sons as well as his wife. We were coming, my brother and I, to rely more and more exclusively on each other for all that made life bearable, to have the confidence only in each other. I expect that we, or at any rate I, were already learning to lie to him. Everything that had made the house a home had failed. Everything except one another. We drew daily closer together. That was a good result. Two frightened urchins huddled for warmth in a bleak world. God is good, isn't he?
God is good. That's deep.
It's deep. I just wanted to read it just for anyone who's like grieving or seeing something, or just because it struck such a chord that, you know, particularly the sentence where it says, thus by a peculiar cruelty of fate during those months, the unfortunate man, had he but known it, was really losing his sons as well as his wife. And it's very touching to me now that my dad is sat in the other room over there chilling with Lizzie and my son, and generations of us are all sat together to remind ourselves that this is the only thing which holds together a nation, and a family is what holds together the love in a family is what holds together a family, and a series of loves from families is what holds together a nation. And we seem to hate the family, and we seem to not respect the fact that this has been going on for this satanic assault has been going on forever. And, I'm blessed in the fact that I haven't lost my dad. He's in the other room. I just feel for people across the world when it comes to that sort of situation, the situation of grief, of losing a mother, the most important person in your life.
Yeah, and that family bond is the foundation of our society. And without it, we are nothing. But that bond isn't just there for no reason. It's there to help strengthen us. And as we grow, we lean on our parents. And as we get older, they lean on us. And then as we lose them, we bond with our siblings in that grief. And everything that's bad can be used for good. And that's how God works. He turns bad to good. And so that grief, that loss can be used as a strengthening bond for our siblings, but also for our salvation to get us to where we need to be, which is our whole purpose of being here on earth. Like we're travelers, we're sojourners. This isn't our home. This isn't our end destination. We're a sanctification process, which we're trying to get holier and gooder until we get to be with God in heaven. And so he permits pain because he knows it helps us, it strengthens us, it encourages us, it helps us grow. Just as any parent permits a certain degree of pain in their child's life, because you can't wrap them up in cotton wool, you can't shelter them, otherwise they don't grow resilience, they don't grow strength and will. And God gives us that will, he gives us that free will, which means that we will have suffering. As we've often talked about on this show, that the Christian experience is finding the joy in the suffering. And that sentence is a hard one for anyone to hear, Christian or not. But that's our purpose in life. It's not to say that suffer is good, but it's to say that good can come out of the suffering. And we've got to try and find that good. It's finding the silver lining in every dark cloud, really.
In every playbook. There is a real... If people could turn back to the very simple truisms of saying that, life is hard and, and sticks and stones may break my bones, all that sort of stuff, if people could just re-engage with the ideas and the value systems that we were raised on, I think we wouldn't be in such a place of, I think this sort of needless and pointless pursuit of what they call happiness is a waste of time too. But I just pray and I hope that people realize that we're all interesting and fascinating people, all of us, even those that we disagree with profoundly. I have really good relationships with people I disagree with profoundly. And to understand that without the knowledge that you can't walk through life being unburned and unhurt and unsuffered, and, it's all about how many nose rings you can put in your hair and which Pride Month you can celebrate this month, that we would actually genuinely be happier. Or, in C.S. Lewis's world, less grieving. So, anyway, we need to talk about your crowdfunder, which is going very well. But we need more people to contribute to it because Calvin is because he doesn't have any financial records in America. He has to come up with much more money than anyone else would to put down a deposit on a house. We need to make sure that Calvin is protected from the next attack. We discussed last week about, appeasement's not an option. And we need to know, we need people to please contribute to Calvin's crowdfunder. He's been, out of all the people in this world who have been through stuff, I actually empathize much more with Calvin. And the minute Farage turns into an arsehole, I think much more of you than I do of me. I go, well, you don't need to cancel Calvin at a free speech union event. And I know that you're not very good at being a sort of kind of, oh, please help me out kind of person, but please do help Calvin out because we need his voice. And, this stuff's going to change and you're going to want the people that are going to help change it around wanting to contribute. And that's all I really have to say about that.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I mean, the only way I can continue doing what I do, and if people want me to continue doing that, then please support me because it is literally the only way I can do it. I'm still in limbo. Just for an update, I'm in my office right now at church, but I don't know how long I'll be able to film from here. I don't know how long I'll be able to stay in the rectory. I don't know if I'm going to be staying at this church or not, or if this church is going to be staying in this jurisdiction or not. I don't know anything yet. I don't know what the appeal process is going to be. All that kind of stuff is in limbo. But what I will say, I I tweeted a few minutes ago I put on Facebook a few minutes ago. I'm feeling blessed. Like I woke up this morning feeling incredibly blessed. I'm having a good day. The sun's out. I've got my free coffee. Like I say, like life is good. It could be much, much worse. I don't know where I'm going to be living next week. I don't know where I'm going to be serving next week. I don't know how long I'm going to be recording next week, but life could always be worse. And I woke up on Friday with a real conviction on my heart and a challenge from Jesus for reconciliation. And I don't mean like trying to get my license back. I don't know if that will ever happen or if there's another place I'm going to end up or whatever. But I feel that I don't think that the Archbishop particularly likes me, but then I don't think he particularly knows me. And I don't think that someone else's feelings towards me should affect how I feel about them. And so I'm trying to reach out through the channels that are open to me, because of course I still can't get a one-to-one conversation with him, but I'm still trying to reach out at the moment for some form of reconciliation, because I think that would be a good thing to do. So that's where my heart is at the moment.
Good. I hate to. I'd like to say something to the Archbishop, who will probably be sent snippets of this conversation by pro and anti-Calvin parishioners. In his statement, he said Calvin can practice in loads of different jurisdictions and blah 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 blah. But that's true of you too, Archbishop. You're the Archbishop of a denominated jurisdiction. And your job is to serve Christ. That's your job. And therefore, you should not have a servant of Christ who's put their lives forward to Christ and in service of Christ to this level of difficulty and persecution. So I hope he does think and listen, because it's not right what's going down. And I know you're much, much braver than I am and most other people are, but I love you, man.
I love you too, brother. Thank you for that.
Okay, well, here we are, and we're gonna the next fight. If you want to tune in for like Calvin and my views on the Reform Party or whatever,
well, maybe people can give us a theme. Maybe we could have a theme.
Yeah, yes.
People reply to this in the comments and say, address this topic or this area. It can be theological, it can be worldly, it can be anything.
Yes. But keep it off politics and keep it off something that's happening on the news. Yeah. And we could break down naturally. I think that's probably where we kind of started in a way. Yeah. We tended to have these little envelopes and we passed them across when we were smoking our cigars. And
in the good old days in that little office.
In that good old days in the little office. And I think we should return to it. So here's our appeal to you is to send us a theme that you'd be interested in talking about. And maybe,
that's not current events.
And maybe what we could do is we could go and aim to do it as a live so that we can interact with people as well. Nice. That's another thing we can do, because I've definitely got that.
That would require you turning up to a certain time at a certain day, regularly scheduled. I'm not messaging 15 minutes before saying, I'm sorry, I'm watching the rugby, mate. Can we do it later?
Okay, I mean, you're cruel. You're just cruel, Cal. It's like you're just a very mean, cruel person. So thanks a lot.
But live would be nice. Maybe once a month we could do it live or something. So it's not too much of that,
Okay. Well, there's not much more for me to say other than I am blessed by your friendship and always will be. And we're blessed by our audience. And thank you for engaging with us. And please buy gold. I know we've been really bad on our gold thing. So bad. Someone's like, hey, we want to sponsor a show. All you got to do is mention the gold. And I'm like, oh, I forgot again. Sorry. So bad. Anyway, buy gold. It's good. It's a real thing. You might need it one day to pay for petrol when you're on your way to the coast because the nuclear bombs got off in London. But anyway, I will speak to you next week, my friend.
Let's close with a prayer.
Yes, do.
Assist us mercifully, O Lord, in these our supplications, and grant that, like as this fast hath been ordained for the healing of our bodies and our souls, so we may in all good godliness and lowliness observe the same. Through Jesus Christ, thy Son, our Lord, who liveth and reigneth with thee in the unity of the Holy Spirit, ever one God, world without end. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Calv. That's so good. I love it when you do praying. It makes me feel calm. All right. I love you, man. I'll see you next week.
All right. God bless. Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks for the comments. Always love reading those comments.
Thank you guys for the comments. Comments are lovely. And also really insightful. So I hate to say it, but our audience are a very kind of attuned, thoughtful audience. And we're very lucky. It's very rare that I come across a comment just going, oh, I wish you'd die.
So we're blessed. The comments really cheer me up there. They're great.
Good. All right, my brother. I love you.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye.